Once every while, in about a week or two, for some odd reason, we get a rush of strategy games on the Play Store. And whenever that happens precisely, it's actually the best time of that year for digging into these games as the competition makes them come out legit in replay. If you're looking for some of these, here's about 20 action strategy games released inside 2023 for your Android and iOS devices as well. Sitting on the Play Store for just a little bit over 24 hours ago, at number 1 we have Angry Birds Kingdom, coming from the same developers of Angry Birds Journey, game with over 10 million downloads on the Play Store only. See, Angry Birds Kingdom here is actually an RPG strategy. I mean, imagine what a combination of Angry Birds, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale specifically, and some Fruit Ninja components would turn out. Well, the answer would be what we have here. Angry Birds Kingdom. Game's free, takes you down about 350 megabytes in storage, and is playable only online. Coming up behind that at number 2 as a first job of these Chinese Hong Kong developers, we've got a real-time strategy and tower defense game going by the name Doom Clash. You'll probably know StarCraft, right? Blizzard's probably the biggest series of companies ever made to this day. Well, Doom Clash has all of the StarCraft highlights cloned to perfection, but it is a mobile game, so you can play it only online. Then also story-wise, you're fighting off zombies instead of aliens. Check it out. Just a quick mention here, as we're still anticipating the English version over here, possibly releasing by the end of the month. We've got here another strategy Three Kingdoms game, not a mobile game exclusively, actually said to be coming over to consoles and PCs with crossplay support here, what's called War of Three Kingdoms. Game's a strategy RPG idle, some were a Langri setter and a Nobunaga's ambition and strategy combat, PvP and PvE. In any case, this game's free and actually playable globally now. Moving on to number 4, the highest rated game in the list today, we have a tower defense management strategy action game, one of the most simple strategy games you can actually play either online or offline. However, the PvP is when the real fun comes in. I'm actually addicted to this one for a while now, and I can tell this game's fine-tuned and polished in every single department, specifically visuals, for this type of game anyway. There's one problem though, it's actually a pay-to-win game. Sitting on the Play Store with 1,000 downloads since only a few hours ago, we've got a turn-based strategy just like Fire Emblem games, specifically in combat. You might say it's an RPG, but well, technically the game is a strategy. Well, first off, Fate Fantasy here is a free game. It's a hero unlocking level-based RPG, player versus environment. It has a pretty nice cast of characters, legit generous for this type of game, pretty rewarding. There's only one downside, which is the game is only playable online. I mentioned this one last week, in case you missed it. Valiant Force, which is a series of RPG tactics in general that started life back 4-5 years ago, actually 6 years ago, Singaporean developed, simply one of the biggest games of 2023 so far. Acting as a sequel over here, we have Valiant Force 2. Valiant Force 2 unfortunately is available in East for free, said to be coming out globally in about a few months. You can still use the links down in the description and play it anywhere, but not in English. I'm actually still wondering if this is by somehow Blizzard or not. However, at number 7 we have a Warcraft 3 clone, more than a clone, sitting on the Play Store since a few days back, going by the name War Legends. This is actually from the same people who previously came up with Art War 3 and Prehistoric Park Builder, both really big real-time strategy games, but this game's free, playable online, and takes you about 500 megabytes in storage. At number 8 we have Mecca Warfare. This has to be one of the best Gundam-style turn-based strategy RPGs released on platforms for the past 12 months. The game, as you could probably tell, takes inspiration from Gundam, Transformers, literally all mech fighting franchises in general, even fighting games, putting you in this world ruled by these machines and humans trying to survive somewhere in the middle, story-wise however. In gameplay, it's actually pretty much an idle style, so it's playable only online and takes you down about almost a gigabyte in storage. Now, talk about mech strategy games, or just in case you didn't really get caught up with the previous game, we have a even better mech versus Alien RPG strategy from last month going by the name Mick vs. Aliens. This is also the first job of these developers doing God's work for an entry point, because the game's first of all really great in visuals, the combat's addicting, there's levels, craft rewards, and it's getting constant updates, so in my opinion it's a 10 out of 10. Do make sure to give it a shot. At number 10, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone to think, but maybe the most hyped game out there at this very moment, or at least for the past few days, specifically been waiting for the global release of this one, something called Limbus Company. Sitting on the Play Store for free with almost 100,000 downloads and a 4.8 out of 5 since a few days ago. I mean, Limbus Company is actually awarded right now, it was awarded in less than a few hours as the number 4 and then 5 free-to-play strategy RPG and some pretty good reviews. So just use the link, play this one, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Number 11, straight out of Japan since the beginning of the year, going by the name Hygiene Eruthyll, translated to Heaven Burns Red. We've got here, I've actually mentioned before, an action strategy gold, actually downloaded over 5 million times in East so far, and still in the making for a global version. This was just a quick reminder, guys, for those of you waiting. You can still play this game anywhere, it's getting constant updates, and the word of a global release by the end of the month. From the same developers of Dragonflight, with almost 50 million downloads on the Play Store, a shooter in general. At number 12, we have Uncharted Waters Origin. This is, of course, as you can tell, not Naughty Dog's Uncharted or anything in that era, but literally just the word Uncharted itself, which means unexplored, on the sea. Uncharted here, by the way, in partnership with Koei Tecmo, hence the characters looking a little weird, is a strategy battleship RPG ready for pre-register on both platforms now and set to be coming out fully March 30. Sitting on the Play Store for a few months now, with a few thousand downloads only, we've got once again Defense Rivals Tower War, which is an online strategy, wave-based action, royal, quite a bit inspired by Clash Royale and literally right up there in replay value or at least visuals with that, except coming as a first work of its developer. This game's free, initially, takes you about 500 megabytes in storage, and quite challenging to master. At number 14, we have here, I'm not even gonna bother explaining this one to you guys. If you do like online strategy stuff, this game is at the moment sitting on the Play Store with over 1 million downloads since only last month, and ranked as the number 1 strategy free-to-play game of the year. Primitive Era, 10,000 BC here, but by the way, this is not gameplay, is totally free-to-play, has 0 ads, and boy is it actually addicting. Moving on. At number 15, coming from the same developers of the free game Towerlands Castle Defense, with over like 1 million downloads on the Play Store, we've got here finally the company's newest game called Stagelens, which is an offline game once again, tower defense, strategy, quite a lot cloned off of the company's other game in core, but very, very different in defending style. This game's free, has an app purchases only, no ads if you like, and about 150 megabytes in storage. King of Fighters Survival City, I actually mentioned a couple of days ago, is no longer up for pre-register on the Play Store. It's actually available both on the Google and the App Store for free and takes you down about a gigabyte in storage. Survival City here is actually a strategy survival RPG, pretty much a top-down zombie survival in style, but instead of the zombies, you're here in this game dealing with human experiments. In any case, this game's free and quite nice in visuals. Coming up behind that, honestly one of my favorite games so far, probably the most addicting, or at least one of them, I don't know. If you're into tower defense strategy, we have Zombie Castle. This is a tower defense skill-based strategy, castle defense. Like pretty much most tower defense games, albeit all the troops that you get to control stay on top of your castle to prevent anyone from entering. This game is to some extent a merge style, and as far as replay value, it's quite huge and also free. Available globally since a couple of weeks ago, we have Alliance Smash Bros. This game is no longer in simplified Chinese anymore in game. There is an English option to play this one, and it's an online game. Alliance Smash Bros. Here is a strategy combat card-based battler, almost a real-time strategy, and a Clash Royale mix, where whatever card you throw into the battlefield turns into troops, and boom. Check it out, this game is free all the way. Downloaded about 100 times since a few hours only. We've got Tile Clash TD. It's a tower defense game, of course, but one that comes with its own twist, which is you can trap monsters in the midst of all the action. Tile Crash is free, takes you less than 100 megabytes in size, is playable only online, and has a ton of towers and new functions in tower defense games in general. Moving on. And last but not least, available for a couple of days now with a tad shy of 1,000 downloads, it's a game called Edge of War. Edge of War is actually the first work of its developer. This game is free. It's a strategy idle PvPvE. It's free. Takes you down about 130 megabytes in size and some really nice visuals to go with it. But that is it.